of his act.
He really believes in the old P.T. Barnum, philosophy of it's better to be a freak, a sideshow freak, than a nobody.
I don't pay any attention to it. It's the price of that level of celebrity. It's the price of the fact that he's different. He's different. But who are we to judge?
A year later, the court ordered Jackson to pay Avram $5.3 million in damages. Michael grabbed the spotlight again when he went to Berlin to accept an award. On November 19, 2002, Michael waved to screaming fans from his hotel balcony. Michael disappeared into his suite and came back carrying a 9-month-old blanket. Fans went into a frenzy. Jackson then dangled his baby boy from the 4th floor balcony.
That created a furor globally. I mean, people couldn't believe that that he did this. And I think had it been any other celebrity, no one would have noticed. But given his history, given his antics, given his entire kind of weirdness, anything he does is going to attract attention, and he knows that. My suspicion is that in some kind of evil genius kind of way, he knew that he was going to get attention for this and enjoyed the fact that he was front page news the next day across the world.
It is the same tradition as what we see in The Lion King, where Mufasa holds up his baby Simba to the entire world and presents him to the tribe. Michael was fulfilling an African tradition, and I'm angry about the insensitivity to the African tradition.
But the media focuses on all the negative things. What they don't tell you is why he was in Germany in the first place, was to accept a very prestigious Bambi Award for his work with children. That part they don't tell you.
The next day, Jackson worked on damage control. He issued a statement calling the incident a bad mistake. But for many, it was too little too late.
It just cemented everyone's idea of him as not only a freak, but a terrible, terrible parent, and a dangerous parent.
It wasn't a wise thing to do, but I think he got caught up in the moment, and you judge a person by their intent. His intent was never to hurt his child. I mean, he loved his children very much.
In February 2003, Jackson looked like he was going to get his chance to tell his side of the story. ABC reportedly paid $5 million to air a Jackson documentary by Martin Bashir, a British journalist who once interviewed Princess Diana. Bashir convinced Jackson to let cameras follow him for 8 months. Michael would soon regret his decision. Coming up, Michael fights for his life.
From your waist up.
Promise?
Promise.
He's in free fall now, and we all got to stay glued to the set till we see the splash.
In February 2003, Michael Jackson treated TV viewers to an inside look at his private world. The reclusive superstar unlocked the gates of Neverland and opened a Pandora's box.
He's got every game and toy and contraption in the world. He's got a kitchen full of chefs. You're fed and given everything in the world. There's libraries of videos and games and toys.
British journalist Martin Bashir produced the documentary Living with Michael Jackson. The show aired on ABC. A record 27 million viewers tuned in.
This documentary was probably the most hurtful thing that has happened to Michael Jackson, even more than the 1993 lawsuit.
The defining moment in Bashir's film, Michael's admission that children slept in his bed. The singer denied that anything sexual took place.
When he's had kids over, it's usually several kids, brothers and sisters or friends. You eat popcorn and candy and watch movies and play. Michael has also made it very clear that he sleeps on the floor.
According to published reports, local authorities launched an investigation after seeing the Bashir documentary. Jackson's camp quickly reacted by making Michael Jackson's private home videos. The special aired on the Fox network in April. The videos included footage shot during the Bashir interview, but painted a much different picture.
I think if you keep an open mind, which a lot of people are starting to do now, especially after the Fox special, I think they're beginning to believe that, Michael is really a big kid.
Still, the investigation moved ahead. Santa Barbara District Attorney Tom Sneddon obtained a search warrant, And on November 18, 2003, more than 60 police officers descended on Neverland. According to court documents, among the items seized were adult books, magazines, and videotapes. 2 days later, Santa Barbara Sheriff Jim Anderson took action.
An arrest warrant for Mr. Jackson has been issued on multiple counts of child molestation.
Jackson turned himself in and was led handcuffed through the back door of the Santa Barbara County Jail. A half hour later, he walked after posting a $3 million bond. Michael flashed the victory sign to hordes of fans and media gathered outside.
But I'm here to tell you today, and Michael has given me the authority to say on his behalf, these charges are categorically untrue.
I think the outpouring of love for Mr. Jackson is sort of extraordinary, and there are people out there from all over the world.
On January 16, 2004, Michael arrived 20 minutes late for his court appearance before an irritated Judge Rodney Melville. Jackson pleaded not guilty to 7 counts of performing lewd acts on a child under 14 and 2 counts of administering an intoxicating agent. The child in question, the same boy who appeared with Michael in the Martin Bashir documentary.
The current accuser is a boy who was approximately 13 years old when he came forward. He was sick. He was a cancer victim. He was a victim of a broken home and of a poor family.
Jackson left the courthouse and delighted hundreds of fans by climbing on the roof of his SUV and blowing kisses. 2 months later, a grand jury issued an indictment. However, the specific charges were not disclosed. Then, on April 26, 2004, just days before his arraignment, Jackson fired his high-profile legal team of Benjamin Braffman and Mark Garagos.
Garagos was involved in the Scott Peterson trial, and so I think Jackson really figured out that he needed somebody who was going to focus on Michael Jackson. Tom Mesereau was representing Robert Blake at the time, and Mesereau is a fantastic attorney. So here comes Jackson and his camp, and they decide to grab Thomas Mesereau out of the Blake proceedings before Blake's trial begins, and I think it was the smartest thing that Michael Jackson could have done.
This case is about one thing only. It's about the innocence and the complete vindication of a wonderful human being named Michael Jackson.
On April 30th, Jackson appeared in court again. The grand jury indictment included the original 9 counts, but there was a new charge: conspiracy allegedly involving child abduction, false imprisonment, and extortion.
The grand jury added this conspiracy charge, and that's an allegation that Michael Jackson, together with other people, actually kidnapped the family, held them against their will, extorted them into making this videotape that would exonerate Michael Jackson.
Jackson pleaded not guilty to all charges. Then in June, Court TV revealed the terms of a confidential settlement Jackson made in 1993 in a lawsuit filed against him. In that case, a 13-year-old boy alleged that he slept in Jackson's bed at Neverland and was repeatedly kissed and fondled by Michael. Jackson settled the case for more than $20 million, but expressly stated that the settlement did not signify any admission of wrongdoing.
The case never got to trial. In fact, it never got charged because the prosecutors didn't know if they had enough evidence, one boy's word against Michael Jackson. And eventually, Jackson paid off the family. That case got dropped.
The timing couldn't have been worse for the embattled pop star. According to a spokeswoman for Jackson, whoever released the agreement did so with the intent to influence potential jurors in the current case. A trial date was set for early 2005. Meanwhile, local authorities swooped down again on Neverland. Although they didn't state exactly what they were looking for, published reports revealed that a saliva specimen was taken from Michael. In January, 3 weeks before the start of Jackson's trial, the Smoking Gun website compiled a detailed account of the prosecution's case. The story was based on law enforcement reports, grand jury testimony, and sealed court records. The documents alleged, among other things, that Jackson masturbated his 13-year-old accuser.
The Smoking Gun article was all of the prosecution's version of the evidence. You know, going back to the allegations in 1993 and then the allegations now that Michael Jackson had this pornography, that he lured the child in, that he was basically keeping the mother at bay, that he flew them all